Hey Collective, welcome back. I hope you're having a good day today. So, you meditate, you read the books, you're walking the spiritual path, but something still feels off. What if I told you that the very effort you're putting into your awakening is secretly being hijacked by your own ego? It's a tough pill to swallow, but so many of us get trapped in this cycle for years without even knowing it. So today, let's pull back the curtain on some of the most common blocks that are possibly sabotaging your awakening. Spiritual awakening gets a weird rap. We hear these epic stories of sudden enlightenment, and it's easy to start thinking of the ego as some kind of villain we have to destroy. But the truth is way more subtle. Your ego is smart. It's like a chameleon. As you start to grow and change, it doesn't just pack its bags and leave. It adapts. It creates a brand new identity for itself, one that looks and sounds incredibly spiritual. This is the spiritual ego. And honestly, it's one of the most sophisticated traps on the entire path. It learns the language of consciousness, not to free you, but to build itself a fancier cage. It'll convince you that you've made it, when all you've really done is trade a rusty iron cell for a gold-plated one. The view is nice, but it's still a prison. For years, this is where seekers get stuck. They mistake their performance of spirituality for real transformation. They can talk for hours about spiritual concepts, but their core wounds and their old patterns are still running the show. Listen, the goal isn't to kill the ego. We all need a healthy ego to survive in this world. The goal is to see through its games, to recognize when the shapeshifter has taken the driver's seat, and to stop believing its stories. To move beyond its tricks, we first have to expose some of its favorites. First up, we have the ego block I call the spiritual competitor. This is the sneaky part of you that turns awakening into a silent contest. It's like your ego used to play Monopoly, trying to collect properties and money. And now, it just started a new game called Enlightenment, trying to collect spiritual points. You start subtly ranking yourself and others on some imaginary spiritual scoreboard. You might catch yourself thinking, wow, they're still triggered by that? I'm so glad I'm past that stage. This trap is tricky because it feels like growth. You feel like you're evolving, but what's really happening is the ego just changed its outfit. It used to get its validation from a job title or a nice car. Now it gets validation from being more woke, healed, or enlightened than everyone else. This creates a really toxic us versus them mindset, separating the world into the awakened and the asleep. I've learned real spiritual growth is never a competition. It's a deeply personal journey. It leads to more compassion and humility, not a bigger ego. The second you feel spiritually superior to anyone, you can bet the ego is in charge. The way out of this is through radical humility. You have to remind yourself that every single person is on their own path, moving at their own pace. There's no race, no finish line. When you catch yourself judging someone, just pause. See that judgment is just your ego needing to feel special. Then replace that thought with something simple. They're doing the best they can with what they know, and so am I. This one shift dissolves the illusion of being better than and brings you back to a real place of connection. The second block is a term you might have heard, but its danger can't be overstated: spiritual bypassing. Coined in the 1980s by psychologist and Buddhist teacher John Welwood, it's the tendency to use spiritual ideas to sidestep our messy human emotions and psychological wounds. It's like trying to fix walls covered in black mold by just painting over it with a bright, happy color. It looks better for a moment, but the deadly mold is still spreading underneath. Ugh. It's basically avoidance in a yoga outfit. This can look like slapping a coat of forced positivity over deep-seated anger, chanting, "It's all love and light." Meanwhile, you're living on demon time, plotting somebody's downfall behind the scenes. Or using meditation to dissociate from your feelings instead of being present with them. Or rushing to forgive someone who hurt you, really hurt you, without ever actually letting yourself feel the pain they caused. Spiritual bypassing feels great for a minute. It feels evolved and mature to just rise above it all. But in the long run, it's destructive. When you avoid your pain, you're not healing it. You're just burying it deeper. True spirituality doesn't ask you to ignore your humanity. It asks you to integrate it. That is why I created this channel, started my business to begin with. People may look at me and say, "She's not spiritual. She doesn't look the part." Or, "She doesn't look like she's been through anything." Someone even called me a princess in the comments once. Like they have any idea who I am, where I've come from, or what I've been through. Spirituality isn't a look. Fuck a look. I could read your tarot cards and blow your mind. I could look at your birth chart, tell you all your patterns, where you've been, where you're going, and what path you need to be on. But I chose to focus on helping people navigate their shadow instead. To truly understand what healing looks like. True spirituality asks you to be brave enough to go into your own shadows and feel your anger, feel your grief, feel your fear. With just as much presence as you feel your joy. And that can be terrifying for a lot of people. Which is why this entire planet isn't healed, isn't whole. It's fragmented. You feel it. We all feel it. And you can't manifest shit from a fragmented place or from a fragmented mind. The fix here is to embrace the full messy spectrum of being human. The next time a tough emotion comes up, resist the urge to immediately transcend it. Instead, get curious. Let yourself feel it in your body without judging it. Ask it, "What are you here to teach me?" Your emotions aren't your enemies. They're messengers. Real awakening isn't about floating above your wounds. It's about having the guts to walk right through them with compassion. If any of this is clicking with you, hit like and subscribe. My whole goal with this channel is to cut through the spiritual fluff and talk about what real grounded growth actually looks like. If you fuck with that, then you're in the right place and you've found your community. Okay, the third ego block is one of the ego's favorite costumes, the glorified victim. And I'm sorry. There is nothing I despise more than a victim mindset, that I can't help myself mindset. This is when your ego latches onto the story of pain or injustice and makes it the entire theme of your identity. Now, this is different than simply acknowledging trauma. This is about the addiction to the identity of being the one who was wronged. It's like the ego finds a sad movie about its past and plays it on a loop forever. The ego loves to play the victim because it's a bottomless source of justification and attention. It's the voice that says, "I can't heal because of what happened to me," or "My life is so hard because the world is against me." This mindset traps you in a loop of powerlessness, always focused on everyone and everything outside of yourself, instead of your own power to create change. This mindset makes you extremely open to manipulation and being controlled by others. They use your hurt against you. Spiritually, this can even show up as feeling persecuted for your advanced beliefs, or taking a strange pride in your suffering, wearing it like a badge of honor. It becomes a shield against healing, a way to keep yourself at the center of the story. Letting go of the victim story is terrifying for the ego, because without its pain, who is it? This is why it can be so hard for some to heal. Our whole sense of self can get tangled up in our wounds. But staying in that victim role completely blocks spiritual growth, any growth, because it denies your own power and responsibility. To break this block, you have to consciously choose to take your power back. It starts with a simple distinction. Listen up. While you may have been victimized, you do not have to live as a victim. The way forward is to take full responsibility, not for what happened to you, but for your own healing from it. Shift your focus from retelling the story of your pain to writing a new story of your resilience. You are not your past. You are not your wounds. You are the awareness that is watching it all, and you have the power to choose a different story starting right now. The fourth ego block is the trap of building intellectual armor. This is when you use spiritual knowledge as a weapon or a shield. This person has read every book and loves to debate the finer points of non-duality. They collect spiritual information, but they don't actually live it. It's like someone who buys hundreds of cookbooks and can tell you all the ingredients to every dish imaginable, but never actually gets their ass in the kitchen to cook anything. They don't practice what they preach. Their knowledge is miles ahead of their actual experience. The ego does this because it feels much safer in the mind than in the heart. Concepts are clean. They can be controlled, organized, and debated. Real, embodied experience? Now that's messy, unpredictable, and vulnerable. So the ego creates an identity as the spiritual scholar. When life gets emotionally challenging, instead of feeling the discomfort, it retreats into its head and explains it all away with a spiritual concept. You see this when people nitpick others' spiritual language, judge someone for not getting a complex idea or teaching, or use a concept like non-attachment to justify being emotionally cold and distant. Their spirituality isn't a lived reality. It's a belief system used for protection. This isn't transformation. It's just a very advanced form of procrastination. The way out is to deliberately shift from knowing to being. The question isn't, what do I know? It's, how am I living? Pick one spiritual concept you know, like compassion, and make it your mission to truly embody it for a whole week. How can you actively practice compassion with that one person who gets on your last nerve? If you know about being present, can you actually practice it while you're stuck in traffic? Ground your spirituality in your body, in your daily actions. It's not easy. True wisdom isn't in library books. It's in the quiet, lived presence of your own being. Okay, this brings us to our final, most paradoxical block, treating the ego as the enemy. So much of spiritual culture talks about destroying the ego. But here's the ultimate trick. Trying to destroy your ego is just another project of the ego. Think about it. Who is it that wants to be the heroic slayer of the ego? It's the ego itself, creating a new, noble-sounding mission. I'm going to be the one who finally defeats the ego. This just creates a massive inner war. Trying to fight your ego is like trying to fight your own shadow. The more you swing at it, the more it moves with you. It's an unwinnable battle that just leaves you exhausted. When you make the ego your enemy, it doesn't just vanish. It goes into hiding and just gets more subtle. The ego isn't evil. It's a survival mechanism that's gone haywire. It's just a bundle of thoughts, beliefs, and patterns designed to protect you when you were young. The way out isn't through fighting it, but through lovingly disidentifying from it. Start treating your ego like a scared child, not a monster. When you notice an egoic pattern pop up, say a flash of jealousy, the need to be right, or wave of insecurity, don't fight it or shame yourself for it. Just notice it with a kind of detached curiosity. The simple act of gentle, non-judgmental awareness creates space, and in that space, you start to realize that you're not the voice in your head. You're the one listening to it. You are the awareness in which the ego appears and disappears. When you befriend your ego, when you see it as a messenger instead of an enemy, you take all its power away. It stops being a tyrant and becomes just another thing passing through your awareness. The ego is a master of disguise. Seeing these blocks in yourself isn't a sign you failed. It's a sign you're on the path. The journey isn't about becoming some perfect being. It's about becoming more aware, more honest, and a lot more compassionate with yourself. So quit fighting and start observing. The ego isn't who you are. It's just a collection of old conditioned patterns. Your true nature is the quiet, spacious awareness that's been behind it all along. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something today. If you did, please like and subscribe. And until next time, friends, keep healing. See ya.